Hi, everyone. I want to introduce to you Kate Widmer. She is currently living in Montbéliard, France, which is in the eastern part of France. She arrived there in January after doing language study in Paris for a couple of months. And Kate, you arrived just before the coronavirus pandemic hit, so you had barely gotten moved in and attended the Mennonite Church, La Prairie, there a couple of times. People barely knew you. And then you had to enter into lockdown. So tell us a little bit about how the coronavirus has changed what you thought you were going to be doing and just changed your life there in Eastern France.
Yeah, well, some of that's a little hard to say because, like you said, I was new. I was like just kind of discovering a rhythm. And the church here very much, I am just like the second. There's another missionary family who's also working with projects at the church. So they're very used to like people coming and engaging with their projects that they have. And they are very relaxed about saying, take your time, explore all this stuff before you like really get settled into anything, into any activity. So as far as like, how did it change my rhythm here? It was still, there wasn't enough of a rhythm.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it was very interesting. Doing that transition into a kind of more, like they called it confinement here, not lockdown, as I know more of the term in America. But it was very closed. It was very. We had to have we had to print out a special paper and like mark boxes saying why we're leaving the house and have evidence for why we're leaving the house and sign it with like a timestamp. Like it was serious stuff. Okay. And the fines that if you were caught without it were pretty high. So, like it was just really interesting seeing what can you do? How can you still engage with the folks around you? I live in a small village just outside of Montbéliard, and the village is called Betancourt. And here it's predominantly like a lot of folks who don't identify as being French, even if they've lived in France for a few generations. A lot of them come from cultures of North Africa, of more of the Arab cultures. And so how do I engage with other foreigners in a foreign land kind of mentality? At this time when we're afraid to be in close proximity of each other, where we have to wear masks, where, children still don't want to be stuck inside apartment buildings for, weeks on end. Like it was just, not fun. But what I ended up doing, was just trying to make a little bit of lemonade out of some lemons. And I thought, well, I have a lot of time here at our house. I really want to garden. There's a spot that I'd sort of gotten some approval. I got approval in advance about making a garden here. And so I just started trying to dig up some soil and get started. And it didn't take long before neighbors started coming over and, like looking over the fence and saying like, hey, what you doing? And offering to help, giving advice. And I, just started to notice that that I was making contact with people that I hadn't even seen in the month and a half, 2 months prior, where I was constantly go, participating with this activity, that activity. I wasn't here to be present and just experience life with folks. So that was a really interesting change instead. Yeah.
And are people continuing to look over the fence and see the progress of your garden?
Yes, I get a lot of compliments. A lot of people walk by and they're like, it's growing! And I'm like, yes, it's growing! And sometimes people ask what I'm growing specifically. Or I have this elderly neighbor, bless her, who will send her son over to be like, don't water at this time. It's not a good time of day for watering.
Okay. So lots of helpful advice.
Yes, it's, I'm a noob. I don't really know what I'm doing. But the community is very excited. There's some neighbor boys who came over the other day, and when they saw that I was working in the garden, and they're like, can we help you water? And I was like, sure. But now they want to water all the time. I'm like, it rained yesterday. They don't need to be watered.
Yeah.
So the enthusiasm is there.
Yes. Wonderful. So Kate, what would you say are some of the things you've learned that God has been teaching you during this time of crazy living and the expectations that you had brought being totally changed?
Yeah.
What do you feel, what kind of things have you been learning?
Yeah. In reflecting on that, I thought really the words that sum it up for me is patience and presence. Because I've done a lot of reflecting on, I've been observing spring and now summer and watching the blossoms and watching all of these things happening, and it's been wonderful and beautiful. But also to realize, a tree doesn't become a mighty oak tree in one night.
True.
And so it's, the patience of resting about where you are, letting your roots sink down deep, and knowing day by day God is there and will grow. Things will grow. After I got to a certain point in my garden where everything was ready and planted, and I was like, but I've been go to get to this point, and now that it's all in the ground, now what? Now I have to sit back, and it was kind of hard for me for that transition.
Yeah.
I see that a lot with people too, to know that because I've been present, because I've been here, I've been able to get to know more of the neighbor kids. I've been able to talk more with the moms that are walking by, and it's been really great to have a ready-made topic to talk about with people, and to get those conversations going. And it's just being where we are, taking a deep breath, and relying on God.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so when I visited the church there in Montbéliard, Prairie Mennonite Church, I was really surprised because it's for a European Mennonite church. It's pretty big and pretty active, and they have the old farmhouse and the old chapel, and now they have this glass modern building kind of built on with it, and I was just impressed with how involved they are in their community and how much people are in and out of that whole building area right there.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about how the ministries there at La Prairie have been adapting because of coronavirus.
Yeah. It's been really encouraging to me to witness this, because the congregation has, before everything, would have anywhere to about 400 to 500 members attendance each Sunday. There's a bookstore there on the site where I also help out a few days a week volunteering at that. And there's so many activities constant coming and going. So it was really hard for a lot of people to just suddenly, no, we can't meet. No, we can't be in this building. So with the leadership and the worship leaders and everyone, they got together and started really connecting people through the blessing of technology. They started recording worship services and projecting them on YouTube live, so we could all watch them together, all take the communion together, which we practice once a month here. And there's also prayer meetings that they do once a week for for the members of the congregation, I know the youth group still gets together on Discord and Zoom to have events together and to talk about faith and to just exchange news and things. There's just a lot of use of technology in new ways, and I know for certain members that's really difficult to be able to manage. It can just be so different from what they've experienced in the past to understand how to join a Zoom meeting.
Right. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yeah. There's a lot of like people not knowing that their microphone is still on and they're whispering to their spouse next to them about boiled potatoes or something, nothing important. We're like, they don't know that we can hear them.
I think a lot of us are experiencing those fun moments on Zoom.
Yes, and it's really just cute for the most part. And sometimes there's also technology, difficulties, like if there's not a good internet connection or something, or someone's microphone doesn't work very well, it can be really hard to hear or understand what they're saying. But it's been so much better than just having nothing or, reading emails and calling individuals. Those are wonderful things, but to be able to see each other's faces and to, share news with entire, groups of people at once, to ask for prayer requests, it's been really, to pray together. It's been so wonderful to continue doing that. And as the weeks progressed, even the worship services started to get like really good on YouTube. So they put together a children's story that is sometimes even like animated. And there's usually a family who ends up leading the worship music, the music together, but they'll have the words on the screen so people can follow along at home. And it's just been very involved, like literally involving the community.
So the community has not stopped. The church has not ceased to be connected, to worship together, pray together, fellowship, encourage, all of that. So that's great. I'm really happy to hear that. One final question for you. Do you have any words of encouragement you'd like to share with people watching this Hope Around the World series?
I know so much how hard this time is for everyone in the world, and some people are being affected more in really tough ways than others are. But I just really, my hope for everyone is that we can use these opportunities to really think about what is important in life, to really listen for God, to be able to connect more with God at this time, but to take a deep breath and just know that we, this isn't the end of the world. We will recover. God will be with us throughout all of this. So that's my hope. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Kate, for taking the time out to talk with us and to share a little bit from your life. And so we wish and hope and pray for you and for your neighbors as you get to know them better during this time, and that this foundation now that you have, that you might not have had otherwise, of knowing your neighbors, that can be built on for God's purposes. So blessings to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.